I'm resident of Colorado for YouTube, Joel Sains, and that's Tom Diamond. That's Vickie Ray. We're here to talk some Dark Shadows and who would you like to see cast in a new Dark Shadows, if you will, or perhaps Mark B. Perry's Dark Shadows. Ladies first, Vickie, who would you like to see cast as Barnabas?
Cast as Barnabas.
Sure.
Well, let me find my notes here. Tom Hiddleston. I don't know why, but I love him as Loki. I love him in all of the Marvel movies, all that stuff. And I mean, he like let's face it, the original Barnabas, he's not like all buff and all that stuff, and neither is Tom. So I mean, and he's got that he's played in so many different movies and different kind of like genres that I think that he would just fit in really well like this. I mean, he'd be a great vampire too. And he's kind of sexy in a skinny kind of way, you know. I mean, you don't have to be a buff. I mean, I don't want no bulky vampire. I'm sorry, I just don't want one. I
Yeah.
really don't. I mean, it's just overdone, the bulk part when it comes to the vampire stuff. I mean, like Ian Somerhalder in Vampire Diaries, not bulky, but a totally wonderful vampire, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just thought he'd make a good one.
Yeah. Tom, who would you cast as Barnabas?
Benedict Cumberbatch is what I was thinking of
Yeah.
for Barnabas. He's got the English accent. He can be um, literally a second. You know, I think of Ben Cross, and then I think of Benedict Cumberbatch, and at the same time, the guy who played his Watson in Sherlock, I don't remember his name, could be Willie, and I think the two could really connect that way. But I think Benedict Cumberbatch is. He just has to be a little more formal and stuff like that, but he can certainly do it. And he's got it all. So that's who I think is. So if we were to do this today, it's always you're comparing against the original cast,
Right.
and nobody wants to compare against everybody wants to see the original cast. So
I know. It is hard. It's hard to like do that because we're all so spoiled to
yep,
the
yep.
originals and we're diehards. But I mean, it's nice to think of interjecting people into different roles. I mean, we always talk about how we'd love to see a new Dark Shadows and how that could evolve or translate into our, decade, So.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because that's the thing that when you go back through the original series, Dark Shadows in a sense was taking place within our world. They mentioned the moon landing. Um,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
I would love to see Adam Driver's Barnabas. I don't know if he'll ever do it or not.
Oh, I picked him for something else, oddly enough, but he was one of my picks.
Yeah, he's really good. He hasn't disappointed me yet. So
I love Adam Driver. I've always thought he was an unusual actor. I mean, even in his last one was a 65 million.
yeah,
I loved him in that. I mean, it was only what a couple people playing off each other, but he could really hold his own in roles like that. He's a real strong actor. He truly is.
yeah, he's always taking these roles that you're not expecting him to. And like he did that zombie movie with Bill Murray, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. I know. And he was just such a laid back weirdo, like nerd kind of dude. I
Yeah,
randomly turned that on one day. I go, what the fuck is this? And it was really good. I couldn't turn it off. So I was like, okay, I can watch this.
I got the Blu-ray. And
The
I was
whole town is like whack.
oh, what the hell? Oh my
That was a good
god.
movie.
It was
It took me a while to figure out that was Adam Driver for a minute, though. I mean, they had him so nerded out. He wasn't like a far cry from Han Solo days.
yeah, this was not Star Wars for him for
No,
sure.
no, not at all.
Not by any means.
No, no,
It
no.
was a good movie, though. I strongly urge you to watch. It's really good.
I highly recommend. Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun watch. You won't
It
let
is.
you
It's
down.
definitely a fun watch. It's sort of like I wish it was like 30 Days a Night. I would like to see them do 30 Days a Night. That'd be Adam Driver.
Who would you cast as Angelique?
Who,
Tom?
me?
We'll
Okay,
go
go.
Tom first.
Okay, so what I was thinking of, there's this black actress on Saturday Night Live, very statuesque with an African name, and Jewel and I were talking about it before we started taping. And Jewel, what name did you get?
Give me 1 second. I'm scrolling down it now again. I had it kept up here.
I'm trying to think of who you're thinking of. It's making
She's statuesque, she's tall.
statuesque, tall, beautiful black woman from Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live from days of old or new Saturday
No,
Night?
new Saturday Night Live.
Her name is Ego, Nwodim.
There you go. And she would be.
I can't put.
She would be wonderful as Angelique. I mean, the current theory is that Angelique really should be black because that was.
She probably technically shouldn't be, because I mean, if she was
she
the
should.
Caribbean and she was a maid and she was into Santeria, voodoo, hoodoo, and all that other do, she probably was a lady of color.
Exactly. So
it's more realistic.
So I think that she would be really, really interesting in the cruelty. The other possibility for Angelique, and I thought of that briefly, was the one who plays Uhura in the Star Trek movies. And I didn't mention that to you, Jewel. But I really do think it is a first choice. We should look at that actress from Saturday Night Live. I think she'd kill it. She nailed that role down, and she'd be able to give evil to it. And I think she, knowing I don't know her, but from what I've seen of her on TV, I think she'd really chew up the scenery. So that's who I would look at.
Vickie?
Well, I had a couple of possibilities for that, but I was sticking with the vintage regular Angelique, just because I was just messing around with some stuff. But Charlize Theron, I thought she would be just the eyes. I mean, she just would scare the bejesus out of me as Angelique, because she's so intense, when she wants to be. I mean, look at her roles, like when she just did the Mad Max movie, I mean, she goes from like what's the movies, the Cars. I just been waiting for part 2 to come out. Fast and Furious. She's the bad guy in Fast and Furious, but she can also play these really bittersweet, sad, sappy roles too. She's got like a huge range. I don't know. And Angelique, the actor, the character on Dark Shadows, has a huge range because she evolves into so many different characters during the years. But also I thought about Anna Taylor-Joy too, just because she'd be kind of a mix with like a gothic horror, and things that we've seen her in. And for some reason, I thought it would have been fun. Margot Robbie, for some reason too. I mean, all beautiful women, all could be the typical vintage Angelique. I don't know why I went with that, but there was just so many people you could play with in a role like that.
Yeah. I'm going to butcher this woman's name, so I'll apologize in advance. Keenan Shipka, who plays. Yeah, she's very beautiful.
Shipka, I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, she played Sabrina.
I started watching Mad Men with my husband. We're like in season 3. We got to finish it, but she's got her start in that basically. And I mean, you just watch her grow up, through the seasons, because it was on for 7 seasons, and I loved her in Sabrina. I love that whole series. I was kind of hoping they'd do a crossover with, the Archies there for a while, but they never did.
Do they have a Dark Shadows reference in Mad Men? Either that
yes, they did. They were watching it on TV at a couple of episodes. Yeah.
There you go. That's what I thought. Also, Bye Bye Birdie. I remember they had a
Yeah,
reference
Bye
to
Bye
that.
Birdie. Yeah.
Yeah, well, of course, my favorite and Margaret. Oh, my first
Yeah,
crush.
you and Keith. You and loves Anne Margaret. He just
Oh, my first crush. What can I tell you?
Mm.
Uh, my my soon-to-be wife understands. But anyway,
Another another girl I thought I was thinking of, and I was watching her on Cobra Kai was Peyton List, very beautiful young
oh
woman.
yeah.
Um, but for I was trying to think the one woman. I think she's a little too older to play well. I'm trying to think of her name, but when she was younger, I thought of her as a name like was Gabrielle Union, but she's a little too old to play it now. I think for Angelique.
Yeah,
Um,
Angelique was probably in theory probably 20,
yeah,
18 to 20 probably.
1820, real young. And that's the thing. Like you think of younger actresses like for the role of it, but yeah. What? Well, Tom mentioned Willie Loomis. He picked a Willie Loomis. What about you, Vicky? You got a Willie?
For Willie.
Yeah, for a Willie.
Willie.
Yeah,
Sam
well,
Rock
Willie,
Sam
Willie.
Sam Rockwell, because he's kind of scrappy and rough edged, and he could probably do a little bit of Fear Willie's growth kind of sort of thing. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard to replace Carlin. I mean, I can't find anybody in that role I want. I mean, that is just such a brain fuck trying to put somebody in Carlin's role.
I,
That's
I'm gonna put a wrestler in there.
a wrestler.
Yeah, and his name is
Okay,
yeah, and his name is John Moxley. He's
I'll look him up. Well, who is it?
John Moxley.
Okay,
Um,
gotta
he
know. I love wrestling.
How about Bruno Sammartino? Wouldn't that
oh,
be?
Pitt Champion, the late Bruno San
Well,
Martino.
I'm from the older days.
Yeah,
And his
Oh,
cousin
I could
Angelo
see this.
Savalli.
Yes, I could see this. Yeah,
he's
I could
scruffy
see where you're
looking.
going with that.
Yeah, he's scruffy looking. He looks like a tough guy. So he looks like a criminal too. So
Yeah, he does. He looks kind of sketch, doesn't he?
yes, he does. So when I think of Willie Loomis, I love John Carlin, but I also think of John Moxley because I'm thinking. And when I first saw him in WWE, he was playing the character Dean Ambrose. I'm like, man, this guy could be Willie Loomis. Like, he's so
Well,
strong.
the thing is, they softened Willie up so much through
Yeah.
the last few seasons. But I mean, remember the first Willie they had? What a real
I
scumbag
was
he
just
was.
thinking of him.
A
Yeah.
lot of people don't remember him, but there was another Willie before in the original Dark Shadows, like the very, very beginning, and he was a total dirtbag / rapist. I mean, he just
He's a Jimmy
exuded
Dean character.
impropriety. I mean, he really was. I don't know why they didn't keep him, but he was pretty good at it.
It's a Jimmy
Yeah.
Dean character, and they didn't
But
they couldn't see once he got together with Barnabas, they couldn't see the relationship developing with Jimmy Dean being a servant of the vampire. And then somebody in Carlin didn't even have enough, they just hired him off the street based on, he didn't even have to audition for the role. So they wanted to get it's a shame too, because I think the first Willie could have been, I think the first Willie would have adapted to it, but to be honest, nothing like Carlin did.
no, but a lot of people don't know there was another Willie at once upon a time. A lot of people started episode 208. And that they don't even know what happened. So that's I mean a lot for a lot of people. Dark Shadows is when Barnabas shows up at the door. So.
Yeah, but when I pull out the Coffin box set, and sometimes when I'm watching DS, one of my sister-in-laws will stop by, and she'll be like, "Wait, I thought somebody else played Willie Loomis." I'm like, "No, that guy played Willie because he had blonde hair."
Right.
Like, no, that guy played Willie Loomis first. So you have to point this stuff out to people who either A, don't know, or B, just forgot.
Right.
Crazy. What about oh gosh, what about Victoria Winters?
Oh, I forgot to write that. You go first, Tom.
Scarlett Johansson,
Ooh,
which to me could either be Vickie or Carolyn.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
got it.
put a blonde because she's been going around with blonde hair. I don't know if it's lately, but she reminded me of Carolyn right there. But I think to be honest with you, she'd probably be a little. She fit either role, but that's who I would use. And I believe I'm not sure, but she might have watched it when she was a kid or something like that. I'm not sure whether one of them I know did. That would be my choice.
nice, nice, nice. Vickie?
Oh, I was gonna go with Mia Goth or Emma Stone for some reason. I just thought that they just had a different kind of look to them.
Ooh,
I mean, Victoria was kind of, mysterious. I mean, she was supposed to be. She didn't even know where she came from. I don't know. I just think those girls kind of they know
Yeah.
how to bring out the mystery in a character.
yeah. Um, Isabel Furman. I enjoy her in the orphan movies.
Yeah.
That or there's a girl named Lisa Vicera who was in a Netflix series about time travel.
Yes,
If you
yes, yes, yes.
What's the
really,
name of that series?
what's it? Oh gosh, I'm gonna kick myself.
I've said slept too.
Yeah, yeah.
I love time travel stuff.
Hold on. Please look up her name here. I'm gonna kick myself now.
Don't you hate it when you can't remember something? You know what it is. It's like,
Yeah, yeah. That's what
I
gets me
know it's
too.
on the
I've
tip of your
seen it.
tongue, you know.
Yeah. Oh, Dark. Isn't that was the name of it?
Dark?
Yeah, I think so. Dark.
okay.
It's called Dark.
Yep, on Netflix.
No kidding. Okay, I should look that up. That's a time travel thing. Oh
Yeah,
wow. Okay.
but yeah, for Carol, like when I think of Carolyn Spratt, I'm gonna go Lily Rose Depp for Carolyn. Why not? John's daughter. Just the hell of it. Just for the hell of it. Oh my god. Um, yeah, I think it's insanity. Always when you look her up to Lisa Vicarious, she was in this very old dress, and she sort of looked like a young Elizabeth too. That's the thing. Like it was like, wow, she sort of looks like a young Elizabeth would. That's like,
I
okay,
wish there was. I wish there. I would really like to. I wish there was like origin stories sometimes. Like
yeah,
about Mrs. Stoddard and because she had a fucked childhood and teenage years and all that other stuff and I mean just the stories that could be told. I mean there's just so much people could explore with this. I just kind of get bummed that no one wants to do it.
yeah,
Well, the best thing there would be to go to Shadows. It's called Shadows on the Wall, and that was the original Dark Shadows Bible by Art Wallace, which is still running around the
Still
eBay.
around somewhere.
Some sometimes I picked up my copy for $85. I was lucky because they are selling for hundreds of dollars. But that does go into origins of characters. And I wouldn't be surprised if Elizabeth was, I think Elizabeth was definitely one of them. And speaking of which, I personally think Michelle Pfeiffer would be a very good Elizabeth if it came back. And it would be a very interesting lynch point because the people that like the 2012 movie for whatever reason, but let's give them credit where credit is
Yeah.
due
Oh no,
because
I
there is
love
a
Michelle
fandom
Pfeiffer.
out there that liked the 2012 movie. But I
Yeah, she
really
just doesn't
thought,
have enough mystique about it. I don't know. I kind of was thinking a younger Helen Mirren,
yeah,
as Elizabeth Stoddard. I
yeah,
just thought her.
yeah,
She's just thinking
or
the
Maggie
character.
Smith.
She's got elegance and strength. I mean, she's got that matriarchic protective sheer about her. I mean,
How
there's
about
just
Maggie Smith?
oh
Uh,
Maggie.
yeah, Maggie Smith could fit the bill. because she's also got
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
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 I was.
But I did like, and of course, Michelle Pfeiffer watched Dark Shadows when she was a kid, when she was 5 or 6 or something like that. So she remembered enough of it to bring it to the role, and I think she was one of the big positives in an otherwise debatable movie. Let's put it that way. I'm being
Yeah.
It
diplomatic.
had its moments, you know.
And it had its moments.
Lovely set.
I try not to get in too many discussions about that movie with Dark Shadows fans.
Oh no, they can be.
It can go
Listen,
one way or the other.
I give the ones that like the movie credit too, because quite frankly, they help to perpetuate the legend of Dark Shadows.
Yeah.
Wherever it came from, especially now. I mean, you got to be able to get. But that was an exciting time when that book, just before that movie came out, because I was able to sell my Dark Shadows memorabilia at good prices. Whereas before they weren't moving, and I was trying to get rid of some stuff. And it was everybody was, and of course there was the '91 revival, and everybody would hope that would have clicked, and we talked about that before. But I think that Michelle Pfeiffer would make a good Elizabeth, and it would be
She's
nice for
very
her to
beautiful.
continue that,
Yeah.
role because that links the 2012 movie in a way with the current show.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Who would you cast as the Phoenix?
As who?
The Phoenix, Laura.
Ooh, uh, oh, I know what I'd like to cast when she was young. Ingrid Pitt.
Julianne Moore.
Ingrid Pitt. I'd love to cast as
Mm.
Laura, and that would be very,
Julianne Moore.
very interesting. Ingrid Pitt for the Hammer film star from The Vampire Lovers, and
Oh, I
uh,
forgot. I was watching that earlier, The Vampire Lovers. That a small world.
that was
Yeah.
that is a small world. I love that film. That had Peter Cushing. It had the requisite fangs. It had the subtle undertones of a sapphic relationship. Your brothers probably like that movie, Vickie.
Yeah.
I would think.
They
And
loved all that stuff. I didn't realize till I got older that there was a lot of tits and ass in all the old Hammer films. I would have never known that there was like boobs in that. I mean, they really hit it well for monster movie matinees on Saturdays and
oh
whatnot.
yeah,
You had no idea there was nudity. I had no idea there was nudity in
es-
any of that shit. It's like,
especially
wow.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Vincent
especially in the early
Price would nude
'70s.
women in his movies, you know?
In the early '70s, the
What?
trilogy, the Vampire Lovers, Lust for a Vampire, what a name
Yeah.
for that movie, and Twins of Evil.
Twins of
Uh,
Evil.
Twins of Evil. Yep, Twins of Evil. And they had Madeline Collinson, and I forget who the other one was.
They
Uh,
were had regulars. They were regulars. They integrated in and out of every move, every Hammer film, and
I'm
then
sure
Amicus. I don't even. I think they kind of went back with the Amicus after that. I'm not
they
sure.
did. Oh, they did. That's
Even though
interesting.
they weren't Amicus films weren't near as pretty as Hammer films, though. They just weren't.
Hammer films. Hammer films. The blood was
It was
shaken.
just pretty. They used all the scenery and they were. I just love Hammer films. I still do.
Oh, it's fantastic. In fact, the sequel to Lee's Dracula, which was not Dracula's Risen from the Grave, the return of what was the second film in that series? Horror of Dracula was the first one. I don't remember the second one.
There were several of them. There was a bunch of crazy ones that came like 6 and 7. Some of them were just really far out. I didn't even. I just realized a few new ones last year that I had no idea existed.
Dracula, 1973 A.D., Satanic Rites of Dracula.
Yes, that one is so foobar. The Satanic Rites of Dracula. It's fucked. That movie is just like, go, what the hell am I watching? Love it though, but just out of there. I mean, I just never expect to see Christopher Lee I just was not expecting him to say, yeah, I'll be in this movie. He must have needed the money.
He was trying to get out of it. He had a contract. He was trying to get out of it.
Oh my God, I would have opened my veins and sat in a warm tub at that point. It's like, come on, no.
That sounds more like the Fearless Vampire Killers.
I actually like that one though.
Yeah.
But I like it.
With what's her name?
Sharon Tate was in that.
Sharon Tate, yeah, Sharon Tate, and he bites her in the bathtub, that kind of thing. With his, that was a movie of its own. Let's put it that way. I don't know if you'll ever see.
It was a good. It was in the up and coming. Well, actually, that genre, that type of vampire comedies, drama film had already kind of been established. It was kind of good. I mean, I can't really say I disliked it. I watch it when it's on. If it's on, I'll keep it on. It's funny. A lot of it's so friggin' goofy. It's so cheesy. You gotta love it.
And then even in old Dracula, Teresa Graves, and she said if she had it over to do again, she never would have taken the role because she became a Jehovah's Witness or something like that. But she did it for the money. And she was a pretty decent vampire in that movie also. But we're digressing.
Tangenting. We're tangenting.
Yeah.
We do that a lot.
In answer to your question, I go with Michelle Pfeiffer for Elizabeth.
Very nice. For Elizabeth, I always felt they missed the boat and not casting Angela Lansbury.
Angela Lansbury.
Yeah,
that's an interesting. Yeah, she could do it. I could see her in it, but she's got that stuffiness. That she could do that upper English crust. Although Angela Lansbury started out to play Trollops, and that was so she could do both ends of the spectrum. She's very talented.
She just looks too innocent to have a past. I've always thought that about Angela Lansbury. She just doesn't have she looks like Betty White almost, to the point where the woman doesn't look like she's ever done anything wrong.
Can you imagine Betty White as Mrs. Johnson?
Yeah, Mrs. Johnson. Yes.
The happy homemaker.
Yeah, but did you ever see her in the original Manchurian Candidate?
Yes.
Yeah, very good, Angela Lansbury. But for the Phoenix, for Laura, the lovely.
I can see that. I can see her as the Phoenix.
The lovely Andy Matichak. My God, that woman's beautiful.
Oh my God, yes.
I would have her as the Phoenix. Absolutely. But
you know what? I would really love to see somebody, even if it was a 2-hour movie, the Dark Shadows, the Phoenix story. I think that would be such a great story. Yeah. I mean, it just got everything in it, even as a standalone Dark Shadows movie.
Yep.
But nobody ever talks about that storyline. Nobody hardly ever does. Well, we do, but I mean, you never hear about it from anywhere else.
Yeah.
Because that was pre-Barnabas, and that was the whole thing.
But it was one of their tightest, best written stories.
Yes, it was.
It really was, and Layla Swift had a lot to do with that.
Yes, she did.
Especially that last scene where David she's beckoning to David in the shack, and they did that on a Saturday with 4 cameras instead of 2 cameras.
Yeah.
With the fire and everything, and that's an audio of that is still on YouTube, uh, which somebody resurrected from I don't know where. But you can actually hear Layla Swift giving directions. That is fascinating. It really is.
Well, I like that story though, because that's where they introduced the old guy in the tombs, and they had, that's where it started getting really kind of cool and eerie, because you had the older tombs and you realized that she'd been buried 100 years before and she had lived before. I mean, it was just, and they had the old guy with the glasses. He was so in that part. I loved that part of the story. And they went into the tomb and Victoria was in there, and you realize that Josette, finally the ghost, is there. And I mean, that's when things were just fresh, and it was such a good story. Just such a good story.
Yeah,
I would love to see somebody do something with that.
Yeah, that
was
would
like
be
Shadows had come out of the closet a little more, though.
Right.
I think that Jonathan and Roger and Louis Edmonds would have been more comfortable, maybe, if they were gay vampires, or they were thinking of doing lesbian vampires in accordance with
that would have sold like hotcakes. Everybody likes lesbian
they
vampires.
were scared. They were scared to do it.
There's a big market for lesbian vampires.
It would be great. It would be great. Then you would have seen you would have seen a whole new group of fans. I think, in addition to what you had, but it was
That's so
they were too scared to go. They were too scared to go ahead with it. And besides, Curtis had already made up his mind that he wanted to go to Hollywood and do more legitimate things. He also wanted to do more with the horror stuff. But anyway, so who else? Who else have we got?
Quentin.
Yeah. Adam Driver. That's who I picked Adam Driver for, was Quentin.
Was that the guy on Saturday Night Live sitting at the 50th anniversary? I think he was sitting next to Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yes, yeah.
The dog and her dog, and then Adam Driver. Yeah, he'd be a good Quentin. He'd also be a good Barnabas, I think.
Yeah, he would be. He could. I think he's just so diverse. I mean, he could really pull off just about any male character.
I think he could be, but he was very serious. You expect somebody to have Selby's cynicism, and I think that made that writing
come through. Well, that was a big part of Quentin. He was a cynicist, you know.
Yeah, cynicist.
He was a doubting Thomas.
He and it was really a counterpoint to Jonathan's seriousness and dourness and depression and you betrayed me, and here Quentin's been betrayed too, but Quentin just laughs about it and goes on, you know, and you'll be a beautiful bride, I'll be a miserable groom, or some line like that I remember from the show. But the writers were very good when they handled Quentin. But I agree with you. I think Adam Driver would be a good Quentin.
Nice. What's the guy's name? Oh,
Julia.
Very, very tall young man named Channing Tatum. I think would do it.
Right? Who is it?
Channing Tatum for Quentin. But for Julia, Dr. Julie Hopps, that's a good one. Who would you guys cast for Julia Hopps?
I take Sigourney Weaver or Julianne Moore or even Olivia Colman.
Sigourney Weaver as Julia. That would be a possibility. I'd like to see Julie Andrews. I can see her being a badass and lighting her
cigarette on everybody's cigarettes, their candelabras.
What about Julie Andrews as Julia, the younger Julie Andrews? I think that would.
I don't know. She just I've seen her in a nun's habit. That just ruined it for me.
Yeah, well,
Jill,
you know, you got to get her out of the typecasting. But I think she could. Well, you sure don't want Carol Burnett as Julia.
I
That would
loved
be.
her in was it Victor Victoria? Victor Victoria is like
Victoria.
one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
I
Julie
love
Andrews,
Julie
yeah.
Andrews in that. And was that
I think
Preston
she sung songs in Yiddish actually in Victor Victoria.
I love that
Uh,
movie.
yeah,
Correct. Me and my mother would sit there and just laugh at that movie, yeah, just all the time.
oh, that's funny. Well, I put Julie Andrews so I put Cher in there also somewhere.
Who?
Uh, Cher.
Really? Where?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Magda. She'd be a
Magda.
great Magda.
Yeah. There you go. There you go, Vicky. Yeah. I
Mhm.
think she'd be a great Magda. Oh, especially the way she looks now. Did you see her in the
And what? What she do?
what
Some
was
she's not
it?
ugly, so she must have dressed down if she's ugly in anything.
What was it? I mean, she had this sheaf of beehive white hair or something
Oh, she
like.
let her hair go white?
Yeah, she let her hair go white. Yeah, and she was on what was it? Was it Golden Globes? I forget exactly what it was. I know tomorrow is the Oscars, right?
I believe they're this
It
week.
might have been the Emmys. I'm not sure, but she let her hair go white, and it was like a beehive hairdo.
No
Uh,
kidding.
Not the Cher that I remember, that's for sure. The Cher that I remember had hair more like yours, Vicky.
I
Uh,
remember the Sonny and Cher days when they used to have the show. I was very little, but I remember the show.
there's a story that they actually did a skit based on Dark Shadows, and it was pulled before they aired it. And
Oh, really?
yeah,
I
and
wonder
I
if it's
don't.
out there still. I'm always interested in that stuff.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. The one I liked was the one based on All in the Family with Robert Merrill as Archie Bunker, and it was really cute. That was really cute. But yeah, that's and it was very poignant when the both of them were on David Letterman's show, Sonny and Cher, singing "I Got You, Babe." Did you ever see
Yeah.
that? Yeah, yeah, that was cool. But anyway, yeah. So I think Cher as Magda would have been really good. Who would be Xandor?
Xandor. Oh, wait, we forgot about him. I've got that somewhere. Where is he? I found. Oh, Jeff Goldblum. I think he'd be good as Stokes or any of them. Just look at him. He's got the nerd smart thing going on. I mean, look at him in The Fly and think of him as Stokes. You know.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, he definitely could be a Stephen Garash, actually, who was in the 91 revival, could have been a very good Stokes as well. And maybe he did play him, I'm not sure. But I know he portrayed Joshua when they went back to
Oh
1790.
yeah, Louis Edmonds. We can't forget Louis Edmonds. I forgot Louis Edmonds. How can I forget Louis Edmonds?
Roger.
Roger.
Who would
Well,
make a good
Roy,
Roger?
I'll tell you that much. That was a miscast. If I ever, especially Roy Thins as Reverend Trask, that was a
Oh
miscast.
gosh, yes.
Oh God Almighty!
The guy who was the gentleman that because I know it's at the tip of my brain. They put him in the 91 Dark Shadows and he played Trask and he was going to be
Roy Thins.
yes, he would have been an excellent one.
Mm.
But that's not not modern enough. But I mean, you gotta have somebody with that kind of look
Played
about
Roger.
them.
He played Roger in the '91 remake, and
Yeah,
Trask when they went to 1795.
right.
Roger wasn't too bad. He played Roger all right. Although, to be honest, I mean Louis Edmonds was classic. And again,
Was man, you just can't top Louis Edmonds. I still say my favorite thing he ever did was when Victoria was locked in the attic and he was outside going woo, trying to scare her. He's making the ghost noises. I mean, that is forever etched in my brain. You know, I mean, it was so childish. You know,
that's funny.
but it was so.
I'll bet it was a hoot doing that. I'll bet Edmonds really liked doing that.
And they were actually drinking liquor on set. I mean, they were all a bunch of saucepans, you know. I mean, they were always heading over. Everybody was fighting over that
the sherry,
except the time.
the sherry or the bourbon, whichever it was. But it's usually the sherry that they were going after, especially Naomi. Naomi Tipple, the sherry. She was a sherry fiend. Who else is there, Jewel?
Well, real quick, Dr. Julia Hoffman from X-Files, Gillian Anderson. I think she did a good job.
Oh, excellent! That's an excellent.
That would be great.
Totally slipped my mind. That would be good.
That would be great. Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. Yeah.
You guys mentioned Xandor. I'm going to throw in Danny DeVito as Xandor because I love me some Danny
DeVito.
As Xandor. But for Professor Stokes, I'm going to go more horror. I love Tobin Bell to death. Great actor. I'd love to see him in Dark Shadows. I don't know if he ever will be, but
who was that? I didn't catch it.
Tobin Bell. He played the Jigsaw Killer.
Yes, absolutely.
Rhea Perlman could be one of the Rhea Perlman would have been a good Magda too.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a role though that she played though, Magda. I mean, I was dying through that whole thing, you know, just how they got that almost that black face makeup on her. I mean, could they get that? They got that dark cover girl stuff on her face, trying to make her look like a gypsy and everything.
But she really liked that role though.
She did. She enjoyed it quite a bit.
She was Romanian.
She was an exceptional actress. She really was.
Grayson Hall, sure. Sure, I remember she was an Oscar nominee for
Night of the Iguana.
Exactly. That would have been something she had won it one. Wonders if she would have been on Shadows.
I haven't seen that in a while. I should turn it on this weekend. It's been a while.
I don't think I ever saw it. That's something I should definitely look at.
Race to the Devil with Laura Parker was really good too, and Peter Fonda, really good.
Oh, Race with the Devil, you're thinking of? Yeah. Race with the Devil, absolutely.
Who would you cast as Nicholas Blair?
Oh, man, I'm thinking.
Who's the guy from? What the heck? Nicholas Blair.
Nicholas Blair.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I'm thinking of. What's the name of that show with the Devil on Earth or something like that?
Devil on Earth.
I'm trying to think of his. It lasted for 5 seasons. The fans got on top of it in order to give it an extra season. Where the heck is my memory?
Lucifer?
Lucifer?
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, he would make a good one.
Yeah, what's his name?
Give me 1 second. Hotz.
Tom what?
Tom Ellis.
Tom Ellis, that's
Ellis.
Tom Ellis, yeah.
I think he'd be a good Nicholas Blair.
I'm trying to find somebody who's suave, mysterious, and like morally ambiguous, and I'm not picking up anybody. Oh, there, Tom Hiddleston. He always shows up.
Yeah.
David Tennant.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about putting
Michael
Time?
Fassbender
Yeah.
from X-Men. I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, you just really need to be like you're morally bankrupt and you can do the part, you know? He really was good at it. I never really figured out, was he Satan or was he Satan's helper? Or I mean, I
He was
never really
Satan's
quite
helper.
figured it
Literally.
out.
He was
I know
Satan's
the
helper.
the brass was still, you know, downstairs, wasn't it? I mean, he was reporting to the Hefe or something.
That's right. That's right. That's right. As Asmodeus, I think. Oh, I think that was what was the name of his boss? Uh,
uh,
the one that he reported to, and the guy who did the voice, I think, was also on Star Trek.
that where they had the head in the thing? Is that where we were doing the head then? The
No,
head
that was
program?
later. No, that was later. That
I
was
gotta revisit that story. I've totally like let that. It's like,
Tom Ellis. That'd be a
oh,
good.
I'm not.
That'd be a good Nicholas Blair.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be kind of rough to say that he's because they portrayed brother and sister. So there's got to be a half brother somewhere because Tom Ellis is white and the one who plays Angelique is black. So there has to be some kind of connection.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Who do you think is Nicholas Jewell?
I would love to see Gabriel or Gabriel Macht as Nicholas Blair.
I was saying you just gotta have that certain sinister, you know, dastardly and motley look about you.
Yeah.
Because he really did a good job though. God, man. He was just the ultimate. You almost hated him at some
Yeah.
point. Just like, why isn't anybody figuring this guy out yet? You know?
Yeah, Humper did such a great job. I mean, he was just so on.
He
And
was.
in craziness, in all honesty, who I would take a chance to cast it, even though I think he could pull it off if you let him, is Alice Cooper.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you let him, I think Alice could do it,
Yeah.
but I don't know if they'd ever give him a chance to. But
Oh God, I love Alice Cooper. He's coming
yeah,
back around Dallas for a concert. I go every time he comes.
great
Love seeing
performer.
Alice in concert.
Yeah,
I don't care how sore my bones are. I will get there.
great performer, absolutely.
Oh my God, I love his concert.
Who would now? We did get the devil in a sense in Dark Shadows. We went down in the house. So who would you cast as Satan?
Roddy
See,
McDowell,
Ooh,
because
nice.
he was Satan on Fantasy Island.
Yeah,
oh,
Yeah, yeah. Roddy McDowell would have been interesting.
yeah.
heard of him on
Very
and
interesting. Be
obviously
very
that's good.
suave.
I,
Who's like more contemporary though that I would like to see? Hugh Jackman.
yeah, yeah. I, I, when I was like thinking about the devil for Dark Shadows, I was writing the Dark Shadow story once, and I always listen to the Justin Bean Radio Hour, and every time I hear Justin's voice, for whatever reason, I hear Satan. And it's not that he's a bad dude; he's really a nice guy. He's got a very easygoing voice, but it's like there's something underneath there that's like I can't put my finger on it.
The
Sounds sinister.
vibe.
Yeah, it's like
Vibing.
yeah, and I'm like, if I could cast the devil in Dark Shadows, and I told him this, I said I would cast you, and he said why? I said you sound sort of like the devil to me. It's like okay, so I'm cast him. That or Malcolm McDowell, I think would be
Oh, very excellent choice. Yeah.
good. Yeah,
Malcolm McDowell. He hasn't really been, you know, I hear too much these days.
yeah.
I
That
wonder what's going on with him.
like if I was going old school, like if it had been the 60s, if I'd have been Dan Curtis, I would have begged Rod Serling to play the devil because he would have been. It'd have been too good to play the devil. But yeah, here's one for you. What about Adam? Who would you cast to play Adam?
Jonathan Harrison.
Oh, stop.
I'll give Jonathan a shout out, who's Frankenstein. I really admire Jonathan, who was Dark Shadows fan for the longest time, and I met him at the conventions. Became the Frankenstein monster for Universal's shows, and has done that for over 35 years. And,
For who? For what character though?
Adam.
Adam. I would go with Christian Bale.
Ooh. I'm gonna go more. I'll go wrestler again. Yeah, I grew up a wrestler.
I love wrestling. No, go ahead.
I would go Mark Calloway, who played the Undertaker in WWF.
No kidding.
Yeah,
the Undertaker. That's a little dated.
But that, or if you've ever seen, who is it? Glenn Jacobs, who played in wrestling, played his brother Kane with his mask off, who just looks scary. He looks menacing. He's got one of the most evil looking guys. It's like, oh gosh, but like, because there are really tall guys in wrestling. When you do see him, it's like, I remember who was it? Paul White was like 7 foot.
God, yeah.
I remember, like, my grandfather showed me Haystacks Calhoun, and I'm like, this guy's huge. Like, holy hell.
That's where, like, Andre the Giant used to frequent. See, I grew up in northern New York, and it was wrestling was big in northern New York, Syracuse on north. And Andre the Giant used to come in some of our restaurants every once in a while. I mean, order like 12 loaves of bread. I swear to God. I mean, man had hands this big. He was just enormous. Nice man, though. But everybody, these wrestlers used to come in through all time and eat. And people left him alone, but my God, they could eat. But that was the 80s, you know.
Yeah.
At Animal then, and Rowdy Roddy Piper, and all of them, Jimmy Snuka.
Yeah.
Sure. Cheap J Strongbow.
Yeah.
And
Animal.
King Kong Bundy.
King Kong Bundy.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Georgie Animal Steel.
Yeah.
I went down to Miami.
He was such a misunderstood man.
Yeah.
He was a college
I loved
professor.
wrestling back then. It was just fucking great back then. I mean, I like it now, but there was something just a little bit different about it back then. I don't know what exactly, but there was just something going on. And then American Gladiator started. I used to love that stuff. I used to go watch that crap all the time. We got a tangent, though.
Georgie Animal Steel was a college professor, a history professor, when he wasn't doing the wrestling gig. And I remember going with my friend and seeing him in person in Miami, and he used to bite the turnbuckle at the end of the match. He'd rip the turnbuckle out and he'd throw the what do you call it? Not paper mache, the styrofoam. He'd throw the styrofoam at the fans. And I said, "Come on, George." I said, bite the turnbuckle. And he looked at me and he bit the turnbuckle. and he threw the styrofoam at me. I loved it.
Yeah.
It was really funny to see him. You should put Hulk Hogan. I was thinking of Hulk Hogan for Jeb. When he grew up. How do you like Hulk Hogan for Jeb?
Jeb, yeah. Yeah.
No. No.
Yeah, I'll tell you who I see for Jeb when he was young enough would be Diamond Dallas Page. Like for WCW. If you ever see him in the 90s, he had these tattoos. He would do the move, the Diamond Cutter. Um, or better, I'll tell you who would be an interesting Jeb would have been the late Brian Pillman. He was crazy.
Yes.
He was nuts.
Wow, I didn't think of that one in a long time.
But yeah, there's a lot of crazy wrestlers like you could like. I remember Junkyard Dog, like my favorite. That was one of my
Oh, I
favorites.
remember that.
Yeah, I remember like him
Yeah.
in the chains and stuff. Oh my gosh.
The British Bulldogs.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
The Fabulous Thunderbird.
Yeah, Freebirds. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Freebirds, yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Those guys were crazy.
Yeah.
Those guys were batshit. I remember seeing them. They used to like throw people out of the ring. I thought it was an act sometimes. Sometimes I don't know when you were there personally watching an actual show. Just like that shit looked like it hurt sometimes, you know? They start beating each other with chairs. Especially the cage matches. It's like, God.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Podcast on that, you know.
Yeah. Memories of Wrestling by Tom, Vickie, and Joel. We'll just go
Memories
down
of Wrestling from Dark Shadows fans.
Yes. Oh my God.
Well, those wrestlers could have been whatchamacallit, all those zombies when
Well, they did. They used wrestlers for those zombies. That
I think so.
And they say that was a total blooper because they weren't supposed to come out yet. Because I remember talking to Jim Storm about that. It's like they weren't supposed to be doing that shit, but they did, and they started moving prematurely. Yeah, that was a mess.
That's funny.
But those were wrestlers.
Yeah.
They were. Yeah. Wow. I would believe it. I would believe it.
Yeah.
I had to dig for that stuff too. When you interview people, you got to find something. I mean, you got to really, really dig to find something they haven't thought of in years, you know, that so nobody else has ever asked them.
I'm trying to think of another one. Do you remember the tag team Demolition? Do you remember them?
Demolition, yep.
Yeah. I remember the Road Warriors and stuff like that too.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, I forgot about them. Those were good times, man.
Yeah.
We used to get the air. We used to wait for them to come on. My girlfriends and I would get all kinds of liquored up and stuff and get the HBO pay-per-view shit. Because we knew they were going to be having the big matches on. They were waiting for the cage match.
Yeah.
We'd be all hammered and shit watching that, eating some cheap, disgusting food.
And Gorilla Monsoon. Remember Gorilla Monsoon?
Yes.
Yeah. Your favorite, huh? Yeah, he was an announcer later on.
Yeah,
him and G. McMahon.
Yeah.
G. McMahon. Yeah, no, the 80s I remember very well. We were all into that, you know, King Kong Bundy versus Hulk Hogan. We were all into that when WrestleMania was first starting out. And then it's changed. It's changed.
It's just there's something got lost in transition. I don't know exactly what it is, but something got lost.
It's called the entertainment value.
I agree.
Possibly. I know they still try to keep it entertaining.
They don't. To me, they don't make characters the way they used to.
No.
Like
no.
These characters you aren't going to remember 5 minutes from now, let alone 5 months from now.
No one would remember Jimmy Snuka Superfly, you know, with stuff like that. I mean, that's just the things they did, and they really just took on their character. I mean, like they really did, and they were so personable with fans because I remember these people, like they used to come around where we, you know, they were just nice people.
And they were very well educated too.
Yeah, they weren't no dummies. They weren't.
A lot of them had master's degrees. And it's like I said, especially George the Animal Steel. Can you imagine him teaching you as a history professor while he goes out and gives people body slams during the summer? Yeah, that's funny. University of Michigan.
From Dark Shadows into the world of wrestling. Next week we'll do the ladies of women wrestling.
There you go. All you had in
I love
Mexican.
that show, Glow. If you get a chance to watch it, it is so worth it. The Glamorous Ladies of Women Wrestling. It's a series. The first
What's
2 or 3 seasons
Glow?
are flipping awesome.
It's
Yeah.
on Netflix.
Cool.
It's on
It's
Netflix.
really good. You won't be. You'd probably like it, Jewel.
I've seen a couple episodes of it, but I haven't been able to.
Just stick with the story because it's really good. It
Yeah.
evolves quite nicely.
What I've seen of it so far, I do enjoy it. It's good.
Yeah, I just like where they got the Russian genre versus the Americans. I mean, because they did that stuff. It wasn't very predominant back then, but that the lady wrestlers did really kick some butt.
I remember what was her name? Alexa Blaze or Alundra Blaze, who played Medusa in WCW.
Oh yeah,
very beautiful woman. Very beautiful woman. But yeah. I remember Sable in WWF and Sunny. What the hell? Oh my god!
I remember Elizabeth Randy.
Yes, Miss Elizabeth.
Macho Man Savage's wife. They lived in Staten Island. Actually.
Oh yeah, Macho Man. Yeah.
Yeah, Macho. Yeah, lived in Staten Island.
Yeah.
It was really no. Those were fun times. Maybe because we were younger, but those were fun times.
Oh yeah, the younger part did suck. But they were good times. Yeah. I always think fondly of them.
But
and roller derby too. I mean, I remember as a kid.
Yeah, roller derby.
Watching Ann Cavello with the polka dot hair, and she had all kinds. She had 1,000 wigs. Joni Weston, the San Francisco Bay Area Bombers. Charlie O'Connell, Tony Rome. Oh my God! It goes back.
Yeah, do they even do roller derby anymore?
Let me think about that one.
Honestly, if they do, it's nothing like it used to be.
No, that's for sure. I don't think. No, I think roller derby's kind of spent. I think that wrestling is probably what they're into now because of all the female wrestling. I'm afraid it's getting the guys excited, and it's from what I see of it anyhow. I mean, they slapped the Big Bang Theory in order to have that on TBS, and it's cute. So who else is there, Jewel? I think we've covered some people.
We've covered the gamut.
Yeah, I think we've covered a good bit of them. I would say Sheriff George Patterson if you want to cast.
Oh yeah, George Patterson. Okay. I'm trying to think. I can't. I'm coming up blank.
Who's this stand for?
Sheriff Patterson.
Sheriff Patterson. Oh boy.
Oh God, I just thought of somebody too. Sheriff Patterson. No. Not Ryan Gosling. He's too good looking for that. Not Paul Rudd.
Not any of them from Blue Bloods.
I would cast David Harbour.
David Harbour?
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds would be a good one.
Yeah, what? Deadpool. Oh.
I like Ryan Reynolds being anything though, because he just cracks me up no matter what. I was watching the new Deadpool movie. I was literally pissing my pants the whole movie. I couldn't stop laughing.
How about Benny Hill?
It's so funny. I couldn't stop laughing.
Benny Hill.
Gotta watch the Deadpool movies, Tom.
Tom, have you seen the Deadpool movies?
The what movies?
The Deadpool movies.
The
Deadpool.
No, I never. No, I haven't.
They're superhero movies. You gotta watch them.
Oh.
Henry Cavill could have been a good vampire.
Yeah.
Who?
Henry Cavill.
Oh, okay.
Who could Jeffrey Dean Morgan could have been?
Speaking of Quentin, that would have been a good Quentin.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
Yeah.
He's broody enough. I can see that. I can see that. Jensen Ackles. He could almost now. He couldn't have been a good Willie because he's too good looking. He's too pretty for Willie, but he could have played the other werewolf though.
Yeah.
How about little David? How about
Tom
little David?
Jennings?
Yes.
Chris
Yes,
Jennings.
Tom
Sorry,
Jennings.
Chris Jennings. Sorry, Chris Jennings. Sorry.
How about David? Not little anymore. If it were today, he'd
David not little anymore.
be grown up.
Chris
David,
Hemsworth. Just
restaurant.
so I can look at him. Again, Ryan Reynolds would suit that bill just fine because David was such a little turd.
What do you think of?
Remember when David put the friggin' string on the stairwell to trip his father?
Oh, yep.
Things to teach your kids at home who watch soap operas with their mother.
I'll bet there was a lot of copycatting as a result of that. How about for Sheriff Patterson? How about Tommy Lee Jones?
Yes.
Oh, excellent choice. Yes.
Yeah. And he started out in soap operas himself. I remember him when he was on One Life to Live back in the 70s. Tommy Lee Jones was on.
I don't remember he was on One Life to Live. No kidding. I remember that.
Back in the 70s. I forget who he played.
Everybody got their start somewhere like in a soap, you know?
Oh, yeah. A lot of people did, sure. Doris Black, Lee Patterson, oh my God.
Yeah.
The gal who played Irish, no, what the heck was her name from? Leslie Charleston just passed away.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a shame. She was, I remember her from Love is a Many Splendid Thing, which goes to show you how dated I get. But then, of course, she went on to General Hospital with fame and fortune. But who do you think would be David?
Oh, I had that already. Now I've just put my notes down. Dadgummit.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of the ultimate troublemaker.
Yeah, they're so well. A young Corey Feldman.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Charlie Sheen. There you go.
Oh yeah. A young Charlie Sheen.
Young Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, Charlie Sheen.
I saw a young Charlie
Sheen.
I saw him recently on an old episode of the FBI with is it on Tubi or is it on Pluto with Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. And,
it's probably Pluto.
It must be Pluto. Yeah, I got Charlie. Yeah, it was Charlie Sheen. And I couldn't get over how young he was. This was.
God, he was so clean cut and young looking. He was
so
free drug.
Exactly.
You know, God, drugs just do horrible things to you, man. They just do.
Oh, that's for sure. That's for sure, especially in that business. God.
Yeah.
God almighty.
Can't imagine. But I think we got them.
Yeah, we got them all. So,
yep.
Is there anything you guys want to add before you go?
Well, we could come up with hockey or football. We could talk about everything.
No. So,
the World Cup.
The World Cup.
It's going to be in Dallas next year. I'm kind of excited.
Yeah, there you go. How do you folks feel about coming back March 15th? That's Saturday.
That's a Saturday at 10?
Yeah.
A couple of weeks. Yes. Couple of weeks. Sounds good. What are we going to talk about?
How would you like to discuss the original Halloween?
Oh, the original. I could talk about it all day.
Oh, I have to watch it.
Yeah.
I have to watch it. Yeah.
No Halloween kills or Halloween ends, because you know what?
Yeah,
that just hurts. It's so painful for a fan to have to fucking endure that. I can't believe they did that.
Jamie Lee Curtis in that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the original.
Okay.
19-year-old Jamie Lee Curtis is in.
They're all Jamie Lee. The first two are the best two.
No kidding.
I'll be all over Halloween.
So you're doing crossovers you're crossing the cemetery from Resident of Collinwood.
Keeping it real and violent. That's the way I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, let's talk some slashers. Yeah,
Let's talk some
pretty soon
slashers. I'll talk slashers till the cows come home.
Pretty soon I'll throw in Jason Voorhees and we'll see a bunch of crazy shit.
That's for sure.
Oh my
So
God.
it sounds good. So
yeah,
okay, guys.
Link for the Literary License podcast is going to be in the description box. Go give them a sub and go check them out. You guys have a great. Take care.
Take
Bye,
care,
guys.
Vickie.
Stay
Bye.
safe.
Good seeing you both again.
Bye.
Feel better, Vickie.
Bye, honey.
Feel better.
Feel better. Feel good.